next video going to be about?
You know, that's a great question.
I've got a good idea.
Space pirates or
Machine guns and cats.
But he's trying to find himself. No guns, no
anime ping pong.
No VFX. This can only be solved one way.
Hey, no funny business.
Just wanted to know how you guys did your bullet hits. Do you use After Effects, MS Paint, Dream?
Welcome to today's episode of Shoot Your Friends.
In this video, we're going to be using After Effects CS5. If you don't have it, you can download a trial or find it somewhere else.
And the first steps to making a convincing hit is to have good footage elements to work with. You can either make them yourself or find them online.
Do you guys use the Action Essentials pack?
Sometimes. A couple good resources for this are, of course, the Action Essentials plugins from videocopilot.net, but also there's Detonation Films, and also the ones from nccinemas.ch, which are pretty reasonably priced.
Still, this would be a pretty crappy tutorial if you had to pay to participate. So lucky for you, we've included some of our very own stock footage at the end of this video for free. Download this video, extract them, and use them in your own projects.
My footage is filmed against a black background. How do I key it out?
Most stock footage comes with transparency already enabled, or on a black background. If your footage is on a black background, the first step is to turn the black into transparency. To do that, create a new composition for your element like this. Now apply shift channels and get your transparency from the color or brightness of your element. In this case, the visual element we are trying to keep is red, so use the intensity of the red channel to create our transparency. This means that the more red something is, the less transparent it is. Now the magic step is to apply the filter Remove Color Matting. You want to set this to black because that is the color we removed. Now you have an element with transparency that you can drop onto your footage. In the case of ground hits, we're going to draw transparency from the brightness, since we want to save everything that is brighter than the black background. This is referred to as the luminance channel. Finally, we remove the color matting, and you got a perfect bullet hit.
What about ground hits?
To create a bullet hit on the ground, you need your hit element and a bullet hole. First off, notice the shot is handheld. We need to motion track it with Mocha. Open Mocha, create a new project, and navigate to your footage. Yep. Next, we will want to start creating a shape to track. Draw a box on the area you want to track. It should be on a flat surface, and the shape should generally match the perspective of the surface. Once you've drawn your box, you need to now motion track it. Hit the Go button. Hit the Export Track button. Copy to Clipboard button. Done. Now back in AE, create a null layer. Make sure your playhead is on the first frame. Select your null and hit Paste. Bam. Unclick the stopwatch next to anchor point also. Bam, bam. Now your null object contains the motion from your track. Just parent any element that you are compositing to it, and they will stick to your scene correctly. Anyways, drop your bullet hit stock onto the shot. Here you see me going through the process of making the black transparent. Notice I put the element into its own composition when I do this. Now drop it in the timeline and parent it to the null layer so that it follows the correct motion of the shot. In this case, it's a bit too big, so we need to shrink it down. And now it's just a matter of putting it in the right spot. Also, here's a pro tip. If you're shrinking down an element, you need to also speed it up. In this case, 70% will be just fine. Mess with the levels, color balance, and sometimes tint to get the color right. Also, set your levels over to alpha to mess with the transparency. Put it into your shot and rescale it as needed. If you mess with the perspective, also in this case, the light in the scene has a bit of a yellow cast, so we want to match that. If you can find an image of a bullet hole online, just run it through Photoshop to remove the background, and now you have a bullet hole that you can use in your footage. Drop it into your shot and rescale it as needed. If you need to mess with perspective, you can also apply a corner pin. Mess with levels, color balance, and tint if you need to. Blur the hole a touch if you need to, parent it to the null, and you're done.
Well, for blood hits, it's a similar method. Make the black transparent and drop the element in. Mess with the hue and levels to get the color to match the shooting conditions. In our case, the environment is a little warm looking, so we want the blood to have a warm orange cast. We also use the blood splatter from the Action Essentials pack to give the impression of some liquid blood flying around. We also tracked some little red splotches on Jimmy here using mocha to give the impression of bullet holes. Pretty fancy.
Anyways, that's all for now. If you have any questions, put them below and we'll do our best to answer them.
Also, if you thought the video was helpful or used any of our stock footage, just include us in your other channels box, or include a link back to this video for any projects you make with the footage. No!